We're the indie project Bee and Theo, and we've been living and travelling the world in vans for the past 6 years. We're currently renovating an abandoned stone barn in Portugal to turn into a beautiful tiny home for us and our cats Ginjey Bear and Fernando. Follow our journey from the very beginning as we document the whole process of creating an off-grid home.
Good morning guys, welcome back to another video. Today is an interesting day because I'm about to board a flight from the Orkney Islands in Kirkwall Airport all the way to Aberdeen, and then from Aberdeen to Birmingham. The most exciting part is I'm going to be reunited with Bee and I cannot wait to see her. This airport's called Kirkwall Airport and it's absolutely tiny. You can see it's literally just this building and that's the complete airport, so I'm really interested to see what it's going to be like inside, and also the plane that I'm going to be on. It's a really nice little airport actually. It's so tiny, you can't get lost. There's literally one line to check in. This is the queue to check in right here. It's not very long, so I should be seen in a minute. And this is who I'm flying with, Logan Air. I think this is like the standard Scottish airline that does all these internal flights. It's a pretty scenic airport, right next to the sea. And I think that tiny little plane over there is what we're going to be flying on. I'm on the airfield right now. It's super windy. The plane's literally just there. That was the quickest I've ever been through an airport and through security, super simple. And now I'm gonna get on the plane.
Flight time today is about 35 minutes on route, so I'll get back to you then you can comply with the instructions.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please can I have your full attention and the headphones removed while you give your safety procedures and equipment on board. In preparation for takeoff, please ensure all your hand baggage is secured well under the seat in front of you. Any portable electronic device with a flight safe mode must have this function enabled now. Your seatbelts are to be securely fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is on. Seatbelts are fastened, adjusted and released as now shown. Thank you for flying with Logan Air, Scotland's Airline, and hope you all have a lovely weekend. Thank you.
I have just arrived in Aberdeen Airport. The flight was decent. It only took about 30 minutes until the landing. The landing was super sketchy. I don't know what happened, but it definitely didn't go to plan. And the plane literally could only carry 30 people. It was crazy. I've never been on a plane that small, but Aberdeen Airport looks super small. I'm gonna have a walk around, probably get some breakfast, and then it'll be time to board my next flight to Birmingham.
once we are on the way. The flight time's about an hour. Condition of the cruise, well, I'm sure you can see outside it's a bit overcast and blustery, so a little bit bumpy as we depart the Aberdeen area. Possibly also once we get into the cruise we're limited to a low level today.
I made it to Birmingham, just got to get a bus to the terminal and then I get to see Bee. So excited. I haven't been to Birmingham in a very long time and it kind of feels good to be back, but I think that's because I'm about to see Bee. Look who it is, looking so beautiful.
Hello.
I love you.
You too.
Oh.
Good to see you.
So a couple of days have now passed and the last couple of days I've spent so much good quality time with Bee. It's been lovely. We've been into the city centre, we've got ourselves some sushi and things are looking a lot more positive and she's getting all of the help she needs here in Birmingham. So I've made the decision to move from Nottingham to Birmingham, so I'm with Bee and I can be here every day to support her, but that means getting a train to Nottingham right now and picking up the van and the car and moving to a new location. So I'm getting a train from Bourneville, that's where the famous chocolate factory is, and definitely gonna have to do a tour around that while we're here. But we're going to Birmingham New Street so we can connect to Nottingham. So I just made it to New Street Central Station and I absolutely love this train station. It's funny that you can love a train station so much, but I was literally brought up in Birmingham and it brings back so many fond memories. And my office was in the city centre where I used to run my video production company out of, and I spent a lot of time here, so maybe in a later video I can show you around a little bit. So we have just arrived at Nottingham train station. It probably took about an hour and a half to get from Bourneville to Nottingham. And now we're gonna jump in an Uber, head to my parents, and we're really looking forward to seeing Ginjey and Fernando. Cheers. Hello. How are you? Good to see you, mate.
We haven't abandoned you. You still are, baby. Oh, look at you.
He's still himself.
Still the Fernando we know and love.
Look at him. Look who I've just found, Ginjey Bear. She's having a great time. She's not so happy to see us, but she's very independent and gets on fine on her own. Mwah. Yeah, I'll let you down now. Go on. They just wanted to say hello to you, just like I did. For all you guys wondering about getting a harness for Fernando, that's exactly what my parents did. And my mum's been doing an amazing job taking him out every day for little walks around the garden, and he loves it. I think he's actually trying to escape right now. He's heading towards the back door, but I'll guide him back to the grassy area. He's just having a little drink of water, but look how cute his harness is. It's tartan. He looks adorable in it. He also loves spending time on the grass, eating the grass. This is a lot fresher grass than you'd find in Portugal at this time of the year. So lovely to see how settled Ginjey and Fernando are at my parents' house. They're having the time of their lives, and I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Squarespace, who have sponsored today's video. If you don't know what Squarespace is, it's a fantastic online platform where you can build and design your very own website. When we set up our website for the indie projects, we chose Squarespace because it was so easy to use. There's tons of different themes to choose from, and they're all customizable. It's a brilliant online space to have all of our social media accounts, our shop, our blog, even our newsletter, all in one location on the internet. So if you'd like to try Squarespace and build your very own professional website, then click the link in our description or go to squarespace.com/indie projects for 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. I hope you guys enjoy building your website as much as we did. So mission successful in Nottingham. We got everything sorted. Bee's in the car, I'm in the van, and we picked up all of our belongings, which isn't very much, just a couple of boxes. So they're in the car with Bee, and it was so nice to catch up with family, but also to see the cats again, because it's been a week or so for me that I've seen them, and it's so nice to see how they're getting on. My parents treat them like absolute royalty, and it was nice to take Fernando out for a walk in the garden on his new harness. He seems to actually really enjoy it, and he actually is so much better on the harness than Ginjey ever was, so that's really positive. Maybe for when we're traveling in the van and whatnot, he can come along and be harness trained, and we can walk him every single day. So Yeah, that's really nice to see. And now we're on our way to Birmingham. It's a couple of hours drive because of all the traffic and whatnot, but we're actually going to drop off the van on the way to a storage unit. Good morning. It is a beautiful day. It's currently 7 in the morning and we've just jumped on the motorway in the duster because we're heading to the lockup where the van is being stored. It's probably about a 45-minute drive, but right now I'm getting flashbacks to Portugal because there's a lovely blue sky. It's definitely not as warm, but it's lovely nonetheless. It's nice to see some sun while we're back in England. And we're going to pick up the van and then drive probably another half an hour, 45 minutes to the MOT testing centre where it's going to go through a service and an MOT today. So we've just arrived at the secure location for the van. This place is great because it's got many gates to get through with codes and keys, but also it's got CCTV. And isn't the van looking beautiful in this morning light? I know a lot of you guys were wondering on the Scottish series of videos why we didn't take the Sprinter van. And the reason is because we didn't have a valid MOT yet. So now we've got a valid MOT, we can drive it again properly on the road after today. And I'm really not nervous at all about it because it's such an excellent van. It's in amazing condition and I know it's going to fly through its MOT. It's also having a service as well. So we are now on our way to the MOT testing centre, and the last week feels like it's been a little bit crazy because I've flown from Scotland, I've been on trains, buses, in cars. It's been mental, but it's actually been really enjoyable. And right now I'm heading to a place called Kidderminster, which is famous for its carpets. So the van is now dropped off for its MOT and service, and we've actually got about 5 hours of time to kill before our meeting with our accountant. We're trying to pack as many meetings and meeting as many people as we can when we're back in the UK. So it's action packed, but we're not sure what we're going to do right now. We're just having a look online and maybe seeing if we can check out some reclamation yards, because in Portugal it's really hard to get old and used things, so it'd be nice to go and check out and see if we can find any gems for the barn. You gotta go. So we have just arrived at a reclamation yard called Warehouse 701, and we've actually been to this reclamation yard before, and it's really good. It's absolutely massive. It's like a big warehouse, obviously because it's called Warehouse 701, but they also have loads of building materials outside, old bricks, planters, wood, everything you could want to do an old English stone barn renovation, and I really wish we had something like this in Portugal. So first of all, before I go in the warehouse, I'm just looking around the building yard section. It's massive and there's so much different stone. Look at this. There's still moss on this granite and there's so many shapes and sizes. Look at this. So many decorative pieces that you could use in a project. There's just stone everywhere. And Bee's just found these ridge tiles. Look how amazing that is. Absolutely beautiful. So you've got like stone roof. I mean, they just don't make stuff like this anymore, but that ridge tile is beautiful. And then they've got the ridge tiles for slate here, and then if you move on further down, there's old tiles. So if you're trying to match tiles for your old house, they've pretty much got everything you need here. This place is like a treasure trove of cool rustic stuff. I could literally spend hours in this place. So I'm just walking into the timber section where you can get all of this old timber and some newer timber by the looks of it. But look at this car. This car is absolutely amazing. And actually it's probably not much older that you see people driving around in Portugal, but it's beautiful. It's got a lovely patina on the metal and the wood is just gorgeous. It's got the logo on as well, Warehouse 701. So they've randomly got an old steam train that looks like it's been renovated. It's beautiful. And then there's all these corridors that go off, and there's these little rooms that go off the corridors with just stacked full of amazing little trinkets. There's some school furniture down here. I remember stuff like that at school. That's probably showing my age. But it's a really beautiful place to come and look around. And maybe we'll find something to take back to Portugal with us. There's even more rabbit warrens of areas. It's just crazy. You get lost in this place. But if you need stuff for your drainage, you know where to come, because they got all these little old school drainage bits. Like cast iron. It's crazy heavy and built to last. Well, that was absolutely brilliant going around the reclamation yard. We spent a long time in there. We haven't got much time now before we need to see the accountant, but we've just drove past this lovely looking old pub. So we're gonna go in there and see if we can get some food really quickly and then head to the meeting. Look at this place, looks beautiful. I bet they do nice food in here. Fingers crossed, because I'm pretty peckish. The food has arrived and I've gone for the cod and chips. Look how amazing that looks. You can't get better than pub grub. And Bee has gone for a nice salad. I got myself a pint of Coke and I'm ready to chill. So it's now currently the next day and the van is back from its MOT and parked up in the secure lockup. The van was just in for an MOT and a service. It's a super basic thing. We booked it in well in advance, and when we arrived yesterday, the woman at reception, she told us, oh, you're not booked in. We told her we was. She looked through her computer and it turns out we was booked in. The problem is, when we phoned up later that day to go and pick up the van, she told us that they weren't even going to do the work on the vehicle today without telling us, and that we'd have to wait until tomorrow. So it's really annoying because we're situated over an hour away from where the garage is. So the customer service at that garage was absolutely awful, and I don't recommend going and using the same place that we did, not unless you want a really horrible experience, and that's what we got. It's such a shame because it's such a simple process. It should have been in and out within the day, and unfortunately we still don't have our MOT, and I'm trying not to get angry about the situation. I don't need this extra stress right now. I've got so much going on in my life. I just don't need it. It's really frustrating. I'll show you what the problem was. So they didn't even phone me to tell me what it had failed on, or even that it had failed. But anyway, it's failed because this left side, passenger side tyre is rubbing slightly in full lock on a bit of the archway. It's ridiculous. So we've actually had a lift kit fitted to the van for as long as we've had the van, and we've had these tyres on the van for as long as we've had the van. So it's been through many MOTs perfectly fine at that garage, and not once have they said that this is a problem. But right now, suddenly it's a problem. There's no other advisories, there's no nothing. The van is in mint condition, but they had to find something to try and make some money out of me, and I'm not going to let that happen. I had some tyres lying around, the old tyres from this van that I took off immediately when I got the van, so I took them tyres to them. The guy said that basically I can put the old road tyres back on that are slightly smaller, they can go on, they can retest it, and then they can put the all-terrains back on. Well, that seems a little bit corrupt to me, because apparently this is a major issue, a really major issue that they needed to fix before they could let me drive it away. I'm trying not to rant too much, but it's obviously not a major issue if you'd let me pay to put road tyres on there and then swap them back out immediately after it's passed the MOT to put the all-terrain tyres back on. And it's never been a problem before. Not once. We've taken it to other testing centres, and we've taken it to that garage before, and they passed it perfectly fine. So why now is it suddenly this big issue? And it all comes down to money, and it's sad. It's sad that it's corrupt, and it's sad that they just want to make money out of you, just how it is. And it's so blatantly obvious to see, because it really is a non-issue whatsoever. It's never been an issue in the past, and now it's an issue, even though the van is completely mint and free from any other problems. So obviously, like I said, I took my old Sprinter van tyres that are road tyres, slightly smaller due to the smaller tread, took them to the garage and said, right, I will pay you obviously the £110 privilege to swap over these road tyres from the all-terrains. But when they went to do it, they said these tyres aren't in good enough condition, they won't pass the MOT with these tyres. So I said, look, okay, I just need it to pass the MOT, how are we going to fix the problem? And they said, they're just shrugging their shoulders going, don't know, we're not going to do anything. And I was like, you're not going to do anything? Like, I'm happy to pay you to fix the problem that you've diagnosed in the MOT. Oh, we don't know, like, we don't do that. I'm like, you're a garage, you fix vehicles, this is what you do. It's a big commercial garage, they fix everything there. They just wasn't willing to play ball at all, and it was all about the money. Anyway, I'm trying to bite my tongue here. It's very frustrating. It's not worth my energy, this whole situation. So I said, look, I'm going to take the van, I'm going to put it back in the secure parking, in the lockup, off-road, and I'm going to leave it here. It doesn't need an MOT here. It's completely fine not to have an MOT when you're not driving it on the road. And unfortunately, we're not going to be driving it on the road for a long while, probably at least a year now, because it's just going to have to sit here and wait until the world opens up again, until we can drive this vehicle around the whole of North America to begin our world expedition. So that's the situation. It's not all doom and gloom. It's made me want to go back to Portugal right now, just leave, because I just didn't get a good vibe. You know, it just felt corrupt, it just felt horrible. But I'm putting it behind me. Like I say, the van doesn't need the MOT. I'm just going to leave it, and I'll sort it out when we go travelling again, because we're going to go back to the property in Portugal really soon, and then we can start work again on the barn, and our aim is to move in to the barn for Christmas, and I'm so excited to get back on with it. That is what's keeping me going back to Portugal and doing that. And I don't know what to explain. I've just been through so much lately, just the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I'm doing my best to carry on forwards. But sometimes when people get in your way for silly little problems and they aren't willing to work with you to fix the problem, it just gets very frustrating. And that's really all I'm going to say on the matter. It failed just because of that slight rubbing. When we come back to England to pick the van up to probably ship it to Canada, I'll get the problem sorted, no problem, at a reliable garage. It's not an issue at all. I wasn't willing or prepared to buy new tyres or even second-hand good condition tyres for them to put them on and then for me just to park it up for a year anyway. It's just not worth it. We're not going to drive it on the road. We're not travelling in it just yet. Deep breaths. Everything's going to be fine. What can you do? What can you do? I tried my hardest to communicate and to work out the problem with them, and they just didn't want to know unless I was going to pay them huge amounts of money to do nothing. Anyway, that is it now. I'm going to stop talking about that. And good vibes only. That's the motto that I have. Positive vibes, positive energy. And guys, I will see you on the next video. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.